Did someone say Netflix and chill? Today's episode, Adam and I are going to be going through the world of Netflix, why it's so popular, why it's got an obsession with people murdering people and killing each other and serial killers, and whether or not that's deliberate and having a good or a bad influence on society. And as two avid Netflix watchers, we have the right to have an opinion on this. So, hello, welcome, my friend.
Good afternoon. It's always a pleasure to be here discussing the important topics of today. Anyway, so Netflix, what is it something that you like to watch every day?
So it was and it wasn't. In the past, I used to enjoy a series, and me and my wife would get to the end of the day and we might sit down and watch an episode, and usually that episode would turn into 2 episodes or 3 episodes or 4, and then before you know it, it's after 11. You've got to be awake at 5 o'clock in the morning and you're regretting your life choices.
Yeah, that's one of the things of how I think it's really impacting people's lives, because it's not like in the old days when we grew up, where it was you'd have a series on TV, generally that would be on once a week or something like that. So you'd actually be excited about watching it. Then you watch it, then it's done for a week, you look forward to the next one. But it's not like the sort of binge watching idea that we have now, where it's okay, I've started the show, might as well watch 7 episodes before I go to bed. And it's just so bizarre. And then wake up the next day sort of groggy and from whatever else because you stayed up too late.
Yeah. For me now, if I am going to watch something, I like it to already be finished. It really winds me up if there's a series and it's not finished and it's not been cancelled or it's got to the final episode, because I really can't stand that thing of, oh, I've got to wait 9 months for the next recording of this to come out, and oh, the actors are on strike because AI is going to take away their salaries, and instead of them earning like $50 million a year, it's going to be $38 million a year. And how will they pay for their penthouses in Beverly Hills and their champagne breakfasts? And that kind of really winds me up. So I do like to, if I'm going to binge something, I like to watch it and know that it's finished. So I'm just coming around now to thinking about maybe watching Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad or something, because I know they're finished 10 years ago and everyone stopped talking about them.
Yeah, and they both are fairly good series, actually. Breaking Bad's really good. Game of Thrones is, again, it's one of those things which I guess we've talked about before, where first 2 seasons, you're like, yeah, this is amazing. Can't wait for the 3rd season. That comes along, it's pretty good. But by the end of it, it was decent. But it's like all the good stuff seemed to happen much earlier on, although it's my point of view anyway. By the last season, you just kind of kicking the can down the road, collecting money, because everyone's already, I think what happens is you get people heavily invested in a series. So once you've got to like season 4 or something like that, that's so many hours of viewing. And then you're invested in also emotionally in what's going to happen in the story and the characters and things like that. And so then it almost seems like they just put out anything for the last couple of seasons just because people are going to watch anyway. Maybe they don't need to be as inventive.
Yeah, I think they hit a sweet spot. You do get series where the first series is okay and the second series is like really good, and then the 3rd series is yeah, and it starts to go through a lull. And I've watched series that have got better and then worse and then better again. It's almost like they had a lull and a bit of a series where it wasn't quite working out, and I guess the ratings showed them that was the case, and then they go back and analyze what it was that made it interesting in the first place in the first couple of series, and they start to reignite that thing. One example of that is Yellowstone. I don't know if you've watched Yellowstone, but
No, I haven't.
Yellowstone makes me want to move to Montana and become a cowboy. It's just one of those.
Okay.
It even got me into country music. That's how good it is.
Right. I was not expecting that.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just about this family that run a ranch in Montana, and obviously, as things are modernizing, they're trying to take over it and turn it for people from the cities to come and get weekends away, and they just want to do like their ranching and their cow stuff, and there's a lot of like murders going on, and basically like long cinematics of people riding horses up hills to country music, and it's cool. It's got
getting
like
shot.
yeah, and then getting shot, and it's got some kick-ass characters in it, and it's just got that real American feel to it.
Yeah, just that kind of vibe to it. Which,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
it all sounded quite nice and idyllic. And then you mentioned the sort of people getting shot or various bad things happening, which I guess is what we wanted to discuss a bit today of like, why is everything on Netflix so dark? You know, it's was it 60% of the most popular shows on Netflix in 2023 to 24? 60% with like it was heavily made around just violence and criminality, and it's just crazy that that's like what people go for the most, or it seems it to me. But maybe it's just what makes a good story. I don't know.
yeah. I think it's what people see as making a good story, and I think there's some deliberate. There's something deliberate about it. I guess if you look back at history, like people have always like looking at stuff like that. If you go back to like ancient Rome, they would just gather slaves as they were moving across and then sell them into becoming gladiators, and people would go and drink and laugh and watch people get torn to shreds by lions and stuff.
Yeah, so instead of Netflix, it's just pack up the family, go down to the Coliseum for the day, and yeah, watch that.
Yeah, exactly. Or poor John, who lives in the house down at the bottom of the road in Tudor England, stole some potatoes to feed his family, and they caught him, and now they're going to hang him and cut him into quarters and drag him behind a horse for a few 100 miles just to teach him a lesson.
You definitely won't do it again.
Should we buy some, I don't know, mead and a few lumps of bread and go and watch it happen?
Yeah, I guess there's nothing else to do. There's nothing on TV at that point, so you have to. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
almost like we've always had that kind of obsession with some amount of violence or gore or something that's just shocking, perhaps.
yeah, yeah. And I wonder if that's what it is. It's that feeling of being shocked or seeing something that's so out there. I've never really been into this kind of stuff anyway for myself. I remember when I was a teenager, there was always these Saw movies.
Yeah.
Saw 75 or whatever. And I remember watching a bit of one of them because I don't know, I must have been around people that like that kind of thing. And it's like this guy wakes up, he's been injected with something and knocked out, and he wakes up in a room, and I think the other person in the room is like someone he loves, and they've got the key to the lock that they need to get out before it explodes or some other horrible thing happens. But the key is like inside the other person. So they need to like get a blunt instrument and cut them open and pull out the key. And I'm like, why are we watching this? I just, for me, it's just there's not even an entertainment value to it. Like it's just pure gore. And then on the other side, when it's like a horror film where someone's jumping out, or you don't know when, they're so obvious of what's going to happen next that it's not scary in any way. It doesn't, like psychological thrillers and stuff. They just don't work on me. Maybe I'm not that kind of character.
Yeah, it depends. I guess it's that sort of suspension of disbelief and how much you have it as a person. It's like some people can really do that thing where they suspend their disbelief. They stop thinking that this couldn't be real or this couldn't happen, or they just get completely into the theme of a story or whatever else. And so they're really just immersed into this thing. Whereas for some people, for a bit more skeptical, I don't know, a lot of the time I'll be watching a movie and it could be something violent or ridiculous or whatever. And half the time I'm just laughing at it, just going, this is stupid. Because I don't know what it is. I can't get into it properly in the way that I would. And I just can't identify with the characters or the wacky storyline if it's some horror thing or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. It just feels cheesy to me, or just overly gory for no reason. Like I don't. It's the same with even back at being a kid and watching like Casualty or Holby City, and it clips to someone getting cut open, and you can see all their veins and stuff hanging. I'm like, well, I don't want to watch this.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I just. Why am I watching this? I don't want these images in my mind. It's morbid curiosity.
Yeah, I guess it could be. But it does make a lot of people curious about it, and a lot of people seem to want to see it. It's like you can see the same on YouTube where like true crime and things like that is like wildly popular, just the same as it is on Netflix and things.
Yeah, yeah. I've been dragged into the odd thing because you see the title where it's, you know, this gets murdered by someone because he's gone round to the house and this is the reaction, or this serial killer. I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, why am I watching this?
Yeah, I think also as well, what's mental is a lot of people, they'll consume that kind of content while going to sleep. So it's like at the end of it, I'll just settle down, get to sleep. I'll listen to a documentary about Ted Bundy or something like that, and just like have that as part of the dream state that you go into.
Yeah, and I think some of that is what you've just said. There's an important distinction because obviously we've had a lot of big hits recently that are fictional, like Squid Games, for example. Weirdly, here where we live, I've seen Squid Game toys in the toy shop for kids, which is quite funny.
Wasn't
Okay.
It's a little bit strange, but wasn't Squid Games actually based on something? Like some real event that happened?
I don't know, because it would be a crazy event if it was something that really happened, because you've got all of these people and it's similar to Saw in that sense. It's almost like a game show where if you don't win the game show, you get killed. And I think in the second series, it was a bit smarter in what humans will do to other humans to win.
Mm-hmm.
There was like a bit more of that psychology of what will you do to get something, to gain something, rather than just, hey, if you don't do it, you're going to get killed. So I don't know if it's based on something real or not. But I think there's also that important distinction is these things are fictional generally.
Mm-hmm.
Most of these films and whatever. But the thing that's really popular on Netflix right now is exactly what you said. It's people watching documentaries about actual killers. And that's just weird.
Yeah, completely. And I guess in some ways it's handy for Netflix or whatever the production company is, because what do you need to make a documentary about some crime? You just need like a presenter, a few photos, some stock footage. You could get really involved and you could dramatize it and things like that. But the majority of the time, it's just really cheap TV. get a few like clips of the news at the time. Oh, this is the house that just any of that kind of thing, really.
Interview the police that were involved, and they're always happy to do it for free because it gets them on Netflix and they can be on TV. They're not going to say no, or maybe they'll make a few quid out of it. I guess they don't have to pay Ted Bundy's family for using the name of him to promote his serial killing activities, or I don't know how that works. Do they have to pay? That would be scandalous if they're making money for serial killers and serious crime committers and whatnot.
I think there's some things in place, so it's people aren't benefiting from crime.
They should give it to the victims' families, I would guess. Like that would make it at least in some way
that would
slightly
be
beneficial to somebody.
That would be a slightly better idea, but I would imagine that when you make a documentary about whatever crime, the profits go to the company and not so much to the victims, I would think.
Yeah, I suppose it's not intellectual property, is it?
Yeah, it just becomes like public sort of knowledge in a way. Or as you could sometimes pay people for their story or their side of the story.
Yeah, I'm being very careful now. There's so many jokes running through my head that I definitely can't make.
Well, as is often the case.
But yeah, I watched like the Jimmy Savile documentary when that came out.
Oh, is that for Louis Theroux?
Yeah, there was also like other stuff later that came out about it. And some of those, I find those more horrific than watching These Other Things or These Other. There's something darker about that stuff where you think, how deep does that go?
Yeah. Because it seemed like that was known about by a lot of people in lots of different organizations and all kinds of different levels, and that was still going on for so many years. And yeah, there's so much in that is horrific.
Yeah,
but maybe that's your brand, your niche of dark reality TV. It's like the serial killer stuff, not quite for you, but this stuff maybe more.
I'm not quite sure what to take from that, Adam, to be fair, man. Yeah, with the whole murders, serial killer, there's definitely a curiosity in there. It's the same sort of reason that if you see you're in traffic and suddenly you start to be slowed down, and then you're getting a bit further up and you see there's a car accident, there's a bit of a fascination of seeing what's going on, isn't there? It's like, oh, I wonder what they were thinking, or how they operated, or why they decided to do that, or what's happened. Has somebody died? Humans have that thing, don't they? It's the other thing I always see people do is if there's some kind of disaster or attack or something, people always go, oh, I was there a month ago. Yeah, and
yeah, it could have been me.
What? That could have been me. Yeah, but it wasn't, and there are literal people dead from the thing that's just happened in that place.
It seems pretty, yeah.
How can I make this about me?
But people do it all the time. Sometimes you see it. I know sometimes like someone will die and like someone will post about it on Facebook or something like that with the news. And then some people will react in one way of just saying, oh, I'm so sorry for your loss. But in a really nice, some other people that barely knew this person will be like, I can't tell you how devastated I am about the loss. Didn't even know.
I'm gonna hold a vigil. Yeah. You met him once at a house party in 2017 or 2007 or whatever. Yeah.
And you just get that thing of, oh, how can I turn this into a thing that it's all about me? And yeah, people, I don't know, is it just like is it like a narcissism thing, or does everyone do that in a way? I don't know. It's like the other day, it's There was that boat accident in Halong Bay, and I was like, oh, wow, that's crazy. But I don't think I went, oh, what, 7 years ago I was there. That could have happened to me.
Yeah, yeah. It's like I've been on a boat there before.
I just narrowly escaped death by 7 years.
Yeah, yeah. Someone said to me, I think it was my mum or someone, they were like, "Oh, but it was a bit stupid of them to go out there in a storm." I was like, "But if you get told that it's okay, and the person who runs the boat tells you that it's okay, you assume that they've done their homework, don't you?"
You'd hope so. And that's why they're captain of the ship or whatever.
I'm sure Netflix are up there now trying to figure out how they can make a documentary out of it for people to watch.
Probably.
They're already like trying to figure out
already on it.
Yeah, see if we can get this scheduled for next fall when we run out of tragic things for people to watch. Yeah, it is. It's weird.
I guess there's always, even like this old school TV back in the day when there was 4 channels or whatever, there was always like a good amount of crime stuff. And you'd have like Crime Stoppers or something like that, or you'd have The Bill, or you'd have different things going on. People have always been fascinated with it.
Did you just play your gong, Adam? Sorry to interrupt.
Oh,
So I heard some kind of gong go off. I didn't know if you've got a mug.
Was it like that?
Yeah. I wondered
got like
if
a
it's
mic
time
stand
to...
with springs on it. But
it's not time to pray or anything.
No, but I'm sure the monk will be along soon.
Okay, cool. Sorry to interrupt you there. I just wanted to check.
But yeah, so there's always been like quite a high element of like crime related things on TV, even going back to the old days, and also just thoroughly depressing stuff. Do you ever watch like EastEnders or Coronation Street or anything like that back in the UK?
Yeah, I have to say I did watch EastEnders and Coronation Street again because my mum liked to watch them, so they would be on the family TV when we didn't have 75 devices in the average house. And
Yeah.
you would be forced to watch Phil Mitchell beating his wife or whatever was happening
drinking
that particular week.
Or then didn't he get shot at some point or something? But anyway, you have all these things and it's like a soap opera about daily life, but everyone's got some horrific dark side or dark secret or terrible agenda or something like that. And so much happens to this small group of people in this little place. And I think that when you have things like that and it's all negative combined with, I don't know, then you've got like the true crime things and documentaries about that. Is it changing people's view of the world in a way where they're thinking that life is like this and there's these kind of dangers all around and everyone's a little bit dodgy, everyone's got this dark side? Is it changing people's view of the world? And then also it's like that idea of like manifestation or something like that. If you change your view of the world, does that then become reality? Does your world then change and you start inviting worse things into your life because of how your worldviews change based on the stuff you've been consuming?
I think totally. And you mix that with social media and the view of these perfected kind of realities that people put out there, and also when people do fake videos to make it look like situations have happened and all of this kind of stuff. I think it certainly changes the reality and the way that people see the world and the way that they perceive things. And again, I think we talked about this before where you were saying the world is a more dangerous place than it used to be, and I was saying maybe it isn't. Maybe people just didn't know so much about it in the past, and it's one of those kinds of conversations. And I think certainly watching all of this stuff does that. And you get copycat killers, don't you? So in the past, you'd have like newspaper coverage of the Yorkshire Ripper, for example, but a couple of those murders weren't him because it was someone like copying him and seeing the news and getting a fantasy about that and then going and acting on it and doing horrible things and killing people and stuff. So certainly if you've got like Netflix showing you all of these kind of documentaries of people that are serial killers, is going to inspire the serial killers of the future.
Yeah, quite possibly. Also, it gives people, someone who's like a potential serial killer, let's say, it gives them like a methodology, like a how to do it. All right, this guy did this, and then he got caught. I should probably do it a bit different. I don't know.
I'll do this
a manual.
Yeah, this is it. And I think people have been crimes have happened as a result of people watching films and movies and documentaries and all of these kind of things. And
I think especially, sorry, I was just going to say, I think especially it's like a certain time of life, often during adolescence or something like that, when people are really impressionable, or sometimes when some things happened in their life and then they somehow get inspired by something that they watch or something like that, and all of a sudden being this kind of criminal or whatever it may be becomes very appealing because that's how to get power or to get noticed or whatever else. And yeah, I don't know.
Could it be that the aim of these entertainment companies has changed in some way because life has changed so much? Like life now compared to the 1950s and the 1960s when television was first becoming prominent is in general much easier than it was in terms of work, finances, ability to eat, ability to do all of the things that we can do, technology, etc., etc. Like television back in the 50s and 60s was like a release for people to go and sit in front of it and go to a different place and feel like they were part of a different story. So things were more heartwarming or more funny or whatever. Whereas now things are much easier for people. So giving a view of people dying and all of these terrible things happening and whatever else is like a way of making people realize, oh, do you know what? My life's actually not that bad, and I should be grateful that I've not been dragged off and locked in someone's bunker and made to play a game to see if I can live or die.
Yeah. I think we mentioned in a previous episode about how you should practice gratitude every day or something like that. So yeah, maybe it's good. Watch a Saw movie every night. Next day, wake up and go, oh, wow, this is great. At least I don't have to amputate my own leg and pull out the bone marrow and put it on this scale to release the trap.
Yeah, yeah, this is it. But it's also, it's like it's people being desensitized to seeing these things and then seeing more extreme versions of these things. It's the same with pornography or whatever. People get into more extreme stuff and think that's how people have actual relations.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm talking like Bill Clinton, but I just don't know what I can say anymore.
That was just chicken soup on a I don't know.
YouTube algorithm. I just don't know what I'm allowed to say anymore.
No, we've got a bit lost with it somewhere.
But it's
and everything always does get more extreme. So it's, if you watch some movies that were banned in, say, like the 70s or 80s or something like that, I don't know, like A Clockwork Orange, or I think, or The Exorcist, or something like that, you watch them and you go, oh yeah, I kind of see why it was banned, but it seems so tame in comparison to like what people would watch now. Or eventually when those films were released, they were like rated 18 and stuff like that. But I would imagine the average 12-year-old has seen far more shocking things than those films that were banned at the time.
Yeah, and with A Clockwork Orange, I think some of it comes from the book and what was in the book, and then that like moving into the film. And it is quite dark. Like I would say something like that is more likely to twist someone's mind in a way that could
Yeah.
potentially result in some craziness. But it couldn't, because the book is about children. That's why that's why it's the milk bar and stuff. It's basically adapted for the film to be grown-ups and stuff, but the
Right.
actual book itself, I think, is like children, as I understand and remember, hearing about it at the time. But yeah, it's one of those things where it becomes an obsession because everyone says that they've seen it. Like, I've watched that film. I'm not a massive arty sort of filmy person. I quite like watching Jason Statham films, to be honest. Like, with no depth whatsoever, because it's just easy to watch. So I'm not the kind of person that A Clockwork Orange was aimed at. But I just don't. Again, I don't really see the point.
Will you be queuing up at the cinema when Fast and Furious 11 comes out?
I'll be there with bells on, with my Vin Diesel t-shirt.
I've been looking forward to this all year.
every time The Rock brings out a movie, I'm there. But
I know what's in it: just senseless violence, some bad jokes, a hero's journey. That's it, and guns.
Yeah,
and explosions.
You get shot 18 times and still be walking. Like, I'm all for it. It's actually the thing that I'm really into at the moment. Is a bit of a jump off because it's not on Netflix, but the thing I'm really into at the moment is watching YouTube videos of this dude who restores toy cars, because my son loves it. He's like super into watching these fake restorations of toy cars where I take them all apart and then rebuild them all and repaint everything. And he's got that I could watch those all day. Like, they're amazing. Or old men driving truck models around a fake town that they've built, and they have these conventions. I think I'm going to become one of those guys that has like train sets and remote controlled trucks and stuff. And
remote controlled stuff's amazing. I used to have one when I was a kid, and it's like one of the ones that had like the little sort of petrol engine. So it's but it was so much fun to build. And then you made like you put everything together with a real engine, but you have to put like little bits of fuel in and start it and stuff. Just really cool.
Nice. Yeah, I always remember seeing them when I was a kid and wishing that I had one. So that's cool. So that'll be our future, Adam, is us playing with remote control things, maybe setting up the first Vietnam branch of people very carefully driving their remote control lorries around the track, wide load boats and all of that kind of stuff. Anyway, I digress. So I suppose all people they have a weird thing that entertains them, and Netflix fills that gap for a lot of people. But I think but I think most people watch Netflix like daily.
Yeah, because it became like a replacement for TV for a lot of folk, I think, which you can see why. But to be honest, I haven't even looked at Netflix for years, I think. Just what I've heard, secondhand information from other sources. But it seems like TV was there, and then it got replaced. So, it expanded. So in the UK, we started with 4 channels. Then people started getting Sky and Freeview and things like that. And then you had hundreds of channels, but there was never anything to watch. Whereas when there was 4 channels, there was always something good to watch. And then Netflix seemed to come along as this almost alternative. It seemed like in the, 10, 15 years ago, it started men just getting like bigger. And it seemed like this kind of cool alternative in a way, almost a bit like YouTube was when that first became popular. Netflix seemed to do a similar thing, except just for like TV shows and movies. So I don't know, I guess maybe for a lot of people it's, that's just the app. That's my go-to app for viewing things.
Yeah, and it's interesting in how it's grown. Did you ever hear the story about Netflix and Blockbuster?
No.
So Blockbuster got offered to buy Netflix when it was a new startup for something like $40 million or pocket change.
Yeah.
The kind of thing like Elon Musk has lying around the back of his sofa that his four wives are sat on or whatever. And
Allegedly.
allegedly, yeah, next to his massive bag of ketamine. And I'll definitely cut that out, I promise.
I doubt it.
but yeah, it's like I totally lost my point because I was making the joke about the
So yeah, so it was pocket change to buy Netflix.
to buy Netflix, yeah. And Blockbuster were like, no, we don't need to buy Netflix. It's not going to do anything big. We don't believe in online movies. We're just going to stick to our core business of video and DVD rentals. Thank you very much.
That's never going away. People will always want to come to this shop. Even when it's terrible weather, they'll be willing to walk down there in the pouring rain to pick up a couple of DVDs to take home for the weekend. This internet thing, it'll never change anything. It'll never change our business.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that is an interesting point of all of this as well. And it's one of the things that really does annoy me when I have Netflix. And you alluded to it earlier that things are easier to make, cheaper to make. They're not necessarily focused on the quality. But I've spent a lot of time sat just flicking through the options and finding nothing.
Oh, okay. You have that kind of like option paralysis where there's just so much to choose from that you can't decide. Or is all of it just crap?
It's just low grade rubbish television where you're like, okay, that's terrible. Got no idea what that is. Serial killer, natural disaster,
apocalypse,
documentary about the boy whose skin fell off or whatever, which is the saddest documentary of all time. I don't know if you ever saw that in the 90s.
I've never seen that. That sounds horrible.
It was horrendous. There's this kid who's got this terrible disease. He's actually, I think, was a teenager or a young man by the time of it. But basically, his skin just falls off constantly. So he's always in pain and covered in bandages. And it was like this story about him and his life. And he got to meet Nell McAndrew. And that was like one of his life goals and stuff. Anyway, but it's the boy whose skin fell off. Don't watch it. It will make you cry in your coffee. But there, the point is, it's just endless scrolling through crap. And then eventually I get to the Vin Diesel section and
then you're happy.
Jason Statham section, and I'm like, let's get it on. Let's get it on.
Oh, jeez.
Let's watch Jason Statham trying to kill this massive shark.
Oh, Megalodon or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, mate, what a Megalodon 17. What a film.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem like there's a lot of just low-grade stuff being produced all the time. Like, oh, it's Netflix original. And it's just, well, what the hell's that really? I think the good thing is that with Netflix, they started doing a lot of comedy. And so for a lot of stand-ups, they might get like a gig where they've got like a Netflix comedy special and things like that. So their show will get recorded, they get paid from Netflix. And I think it's good because I don't know, I guess there's other forms of TV or something like that would also do a similar thing. But it feels like in some ways Netflix is helping like the sort of comedy industry.
Yeah, for sure. But then I would question how many of those people get cancelled for then being honest about what they usually do their comedy about.
Yeah, maybe.
Because I think, I can't remember who it was, but I saw someone, maybe it was like Chappelle or somebody, and they had a Netflix special and then they said something or did something that upset the powers that be in terms of woke culture. And then it was like, oh, Netflix, you've got to pull it and blah, blah, blah. And I think they ended up pulling like the shows down and stuff. So I think it's good because generally you don't get a chance to see these comedy specials. But then I used to always enjoy going and buying like a DVD of Peter Kay live or whatever it is, and like this kind of random stuff, or not allowed on TV comedy special of this guy being offensive for an hour and a half is there was something about that. Like my dad would always have some random DVD of someone just
Chubby Brown or something. No.
Yeah, just I've never been a huge fan of that because it's a bit low grade. I prefer my offensive humor to be highbrow. No, I don't like to go straight in. I'm more of a Ricky Gervais angle on things, like who I think if he was a good looking man would probably be one of the best like Hollywood actors that there is out there. He's an amazing actor as well as a comedian. I don't know if you've seen like Afterlife, and he's in this film where nobody can lie, and he's the first person who figures out how he can lie. I can't remember what it's called.
I think you told me about this. Yeah, I've never seen it.
Amazing. Yet, and I wouldn't have seen that if it wasn't for Netflix, because again, I think he's not good looking enough to get people in the cinema to want to go and watch what he's doing.
Yeah, he is very good actor, excellent writer. What he's come up with over the years is amazing, really. It's so varied.
Yeah.
And some things that are on, like, as well as being ridiculously funny, they're on a really deep level.
Yeah.
Has some real meaning.
As opposed to someone like Frankie Boyle, who just says offensive things and complains about the BBC and gets himself a column in The Guardian. He has his moments, but if we could cut the piece of Scotland off that had Frankie Boyle in it, I don't think there would be any tears shed in general.
Yeah, I think he was one of those people. I used to watch him in the past and thought, this guy's really funny. And then he went down the sort of like political kind of thing, and everything became just like overly woke. And it was still funny to watch him just because he's a funny guy, legitimately funny. But yeah, everything then had the agenda, and which is, I don't know, if you go back to TV, that's what you have to be on TV, it seems. Or certainly if it's like BBC or something like that, everything's just got this agenda and political view behind it.
Yeah, I think it ruins it a little bit. It's one of the things I respect about Ricky Gervais, and I think he might have even said it publicly. It's like, I've made enough money now, I'm just going to say whatever I want. And if I get cancelled, I don't really care. I'm just going to do it anyway. And
yeah,
we can like it or not. Up to you.
I'll be in my big house and my millions of pounds just chilling with my cat. It's okay.
Yeah, so it's totally up to you. And I always like what he says. Believe whatever you want and whatever you believe, right? I'm not an atheist myself, but the way he says it, people always attack him and argue with him because he says he's an atheist. He's like, wait, hold on. So how many gods do you believe in? One. He's like, okay. And how many gods do the Hindus believe in? Hundreds. And yeah, what about this religion? He's like, I only believe in one less god than you do. And I just think it's clever that he can have those discussions, and no matter what you believe, like I have my views and whatever, but I think that's some of the things that are lost. And it's great that Netflix is promoting comedy and whatnot, but I think if it's comedy where they decide what's offensive and what's not offensive, then it can, in some ways, it can do more harm than good.
Yeah, which it always does when you have some kind of gatekeeping going on. Yeah, because I guess you've always had it in a way. You'd have, like, on traditional TV, you'd have a sort of standards commission or something like that, where they check what was allowed, what wasn't allowed. But then I guess over time that becomes more politicized. And then I guess that's then spread to social media, to YouTube, to Netflix, to everything, where it seems like there's someone deciding the agenda of what people are allowed to see and what they aren't.
Yeah, which is, does it breed creativity or not? I think when I used to go back to visit my dad in the UK, like he would always watch this thing called the 11 o'clock show. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah, that was amazing.
Yeah, but if you watch it now, it would just not survive on television for more than 5 minutes. It's got
That
like,
was originally where Ricky Gervais and Ali G and stuff like that got their original start, I think, of their first like TV breaks.
that's right, yeah, and it had Daisy Donovan in it and like a few others,
Yeah.
and they would just say the most, not even, it's just funny things about what and what the world's like. And I think, again, back to Ricky Gervais, and I know we're jumping off topic a little bit, but it is where we came into comedians, and it's what we always do, and it's our show. So if you don't like it, do one. But basically, don't forget to like and subscribe.
It just makes sure you make sure you like the video
Before you go,
do
give
one.
it a like and subscribe, and then get out of our space. But that's the thing. Another thing that Ricky Gervais said is like, it's people's choice if they're going to get offended or not. You choose to get offended. It's not me offending you. It's you deciding that you're offended.
Yeah, generally over something as well. But if you think about it in the grander scheme of things in life, it's something incredibly small that you've decided to get angry and offended about. It's like when you think of, I don't know, it's like right now there'll be someone getting offended somewhere about a joke, and there's a couple of wars going on in the world. You could be a bit offended about that. There's this corruption from this government, whatever else. You could be a bit offended about that, but you're getting irate about some joke that someone's told. How about if instead of just getting offended, you just didn't watch it?
Turn it up. Just watch one of the. No, it's because, Adam, there's not enough choices with the 750,000 different series that Netflix released in the last 3 months about serial killers.
Exactly.
How could you possibly switch off and go and watch something else? Because it's not, we've got 4 channels to watch.
Yeah, exactly. You've got a never-ending choice of mainly serial killers and organized crime. It's the best things could ever be.
What we need is more Jason Statham movies and more police camera action. You mentioned earlier. There's nothing better than watching the police chase someone in a stolen like Vauxhall Nova across Broxtowe housing estate. It's great. And to be fair, maybe this is another view back to that human nature thing. It's like you always want them to get away.
Yeah, because it just that bit of anarchy or that kind of like, oh, come on, this time, just you can make it. Come on, handbrake turn around here, just you can get away.
Yeah, exactly. When you see them running, like jumping across hedges and fences in their Nike TN tracksuits, there's something magical about it.
There's something magical about this Scally who's nicked a car, just running through the field, trying to get away from the evil
Getting rugby
cops.
tackled by a slightly overweight man in a black vest and a white shirt.
It's heartwarming stories.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really. When you were mentioning earlier about older stuff that used to be on TV, going back, I think there was more stuff that was, in my opinion, either well written or well made, or there was a lot more stuff that gave you like a sort of warm feeling when you watched it. If you think of even some of comedy shows and things like that in the UK, probably when we were growing up, so you might have things like Faulty Towers or One Foot in the Grave or The Good Life or Father Ted or different things like that.
Mr. Bean.
Yeah. But all of those shows had something, it was funny, but it gave you like a sort of, there was a certain warmth to it in the way that maybe it's just me that sees that. I don't know. But
No, you're right. And maybe it's nostalgia. Maybe there's some of that there. Like, again, I have seen some good series on Netflix that have come out in the modern age. There's another one that I can't remember the name of, but you'll be able to find this using AI, ladies and gentlemen. It's about a plane, and the plane disappears, and then when it lands, it's 5 years later. I think it's a really cool series, and then it follows like what happens. Like obviously, some people have got remarried and whatever. There's all these crazy things going on, and it's like there's a tear in the time continuum. But I agree with you. It's like these older things are more like that, and I think in some ways things were more tame, but in other ways things were more extreme. Remember, Have I Got News for You? It's probably still running, right?
It is still running, and last time I watched it, it was awful.
Dreadful. Do you remember when Angus Deaton did loads of stuff he wasn't supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like pretty serious stuff in the modern day, and I'll let people look it up if they want to, because I'm not going to mention what it was. But they didn't fire him. They just let him go back on the show, and he just got rinsed by like Paul Merton and Ian Hislop for an hour. And it was some of the greatest television you'll ever see. It's like you could just see him wanting to melt into a hole in the ground.
Just kind of squirming.
Yeah, that way of dealing things would be so much better. I think that's quality television. In a Takeshi's Castle style.
I think that's what people want.
Yeah. So you get a good insight into my world. And that's, for me, is what entertainment should be. Right? My life's always pretty serious. Everything I'm doing is like this strategy or this thing or helping people with this serious thing. And when I want to watch entertainment, that's why I always used to love Takeshi's Castle. Loads of Japanese people running an assault course and hurting themselves. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. It's like that is gold TV, because you watch it to switch off, don't you? You know?
Yeah, completely. Which I guess is half of what the TV thing is anyway, really. It's almost that trance-like hypnotic sort of state. That's why you sit down to watch something. The next thing you know, it's finished, and you're like, oh, it's 45 minutes gone, or it's a movie an hour and a half, and it seemed no time at all. But you're literally in that kind of, it's almost like a hypnotic trance.
Yeah. So in summary, if you're watching too much shows on Netflix, and you're spending 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day on Netflix, you need to have a word with yourself, get a life, and figure out a better way to spend your time.
Like
especially
watching
Takeshi's Castle.
or high quality podcasts on YouTube, such as this one, which you should definitely subscribe to and share so all your friends can watch it too.
Absolutely. And you'll also be one of the first people that found this podcast. So you'll be able to have that reflective glory of, I knew about these guys when they only had 20 viewers and 15 subscribers. And now look, they've got 300.
Just like in a similar way that we were saying earlier, when there's like an accident somewhere and you go, oh, but I was there a year ago. It's the same kind of thing.
Exactly. So looking ahead to our next episode, and we've done a few episodes about AI. We did an episode about, is AI going to create a utopia? We did another episode where it was about a dystopia. And now we're going to look into, is AI really as smart as you think it is? And there's some interesting psychology behind some of this. Obviously, I'm an expert in AI. I use it 5 hours a day and have done for a couple of years. So way more than 1,000 hours. And I know Adam has been using it a lot recently as well. And there's some things that we've run into that we want to explore and just share our opinion on, AI. Is it as smart as we really think it is? So make sure you give us a like, you subscribe, you hit the bell as well. Gotta love that bell. Ring the bell for us. And we will see you again next week for that episode. Adam.
Okay, see you next time, folks.
Really enjoyed it.
It's great.